Good, good, good. Well, really Monday, Brittany, all we talked about was, what was the topic? It was basically fueling your business, kind of what it takes to, basically what's on the screen right now is what it takes to grow and to run your business. The importance of, you know, time blocking, lead generating. We might have to close that.
Let me shut her having way too much.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to yell at her for having too much fun. Excuse me, guys. Hold on. Pre-light is not supposed to be this fun.
Someone brought the Baileys to the coffee.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gosh, we were talking about that this morning.
Get our Irish on. It's a good compliment. It's that time of year. Yesterday certainly was. Pardon me? Yesterday certainly was. The rain, the weatherman completely missed it. I mean, what I watched on the news said sporadic rain, sporadic, and it'd be above us. Not even close. We need a little rain, but
I don't know why it feels colder than normal.
not all at once.
Grass is turning green.
How do you not love him? Did you meet him yet?
Who's that?
Mr. Brown, the one that does wrestling?
I did not.
Because you're doing April, right?
Well, I was until there's something I can talk to you after. I
Okay.
found out day one is spring break.
It is, yeah.
So
So your
I-
kids are out for spring break.
Yes, and we had already talked about doing a trip for spring break, and I didn't realize. And I was
Gotcha.
getting all excited about it.
You know
And
what?
I do want to do the classroom. I don't want to do the remote. So
I wonder if we should change the weeks.
if you can, that'd
Because I'm sure that's going to be, I'll see how many are registered. Okay, guys. So today we're going to talk about lead generation prospecting. You guys are all aware lead generating is the number one most important thing in your business. And lead generation, like, what does it mean? What does lead generation mean to you guys? So who else? Oh, we got a third person. Who else is in there now?
Hey, Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Hey there.
Carl, you're a good one to ask. So what does lead generation mean for you? Like, what does that look like when you think about lead generation?
Well, it's a really good question because I think it means a lot of different things, but basically just trying to identify potential clients, right? And then how you do that is multiple ways: farming, generation of places like Zillow, et cetera, Realtor.com, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Basically, just trying to find buyers and sellers that potentially can become clients.
That's right. That's right. So basically you have to grow your business before you can actually run your business. And a very common, I think, misstep with newly licensed agents is they try to master the run your business part before they even have a business. And I understand why, because I went through a phase like that years ago. And it's because you want to know the ins and outs of everything before you actually have a client. So people freak out about knowing every aspect of the business before they actually go out there and try to find business. And what that does is that delays you getting transactions. And ultimately, the best way to learn is to just do it. Because you can take every class in the world 50 times, but you're still going to get that first deal and you're going to go, oh my God, what do I do? I need help. So the quicker you get the business, the better, because that real life experience is really what it's all about. So fueling your business, growing your business is really the focus today. And, with that means your database, your data bank, that is the foundation of your business. So it's about gathering the people, like we talked about Monday, gathering the people that you already know or have somewhat of a relationship with into one CRM and getting them on repeat touches, whether it's just an email or a newsletter or a birthday card or whatever that looks like. And then continuing to add to your business and add new people. And Carl, I agree with you 100%. Lead generation, like a lot of people, when they hear the word lead generation, they're like, oh God, I got to lead generate. It's like a cringe-worthy word. Plus I hate the word anyway. It's like, I like prospecting better or whatever. But what you said, it could look like a lot of different things. So I think the key with it is understanding all the different ways you can lead generate. And those are what? cold calling, you can door knock, you can go to networking events, business breakfast,
Walmart.
yeah, everything you do in life. I mean, we have a lot of agents that are really good about this. They're basically always lead generating. So much so that they don't really need to time block for it because they just do it in life from, you know, when they wake up to when they go to sleep. And that's a really good thing to remember, because if you're one of those people that you just dread it, you don't want to get on the phone, you're uncomfortable talking to people, and you dread it during that time, just figure out a way where it's just a natural conversation. And that's where scripts come in. So that's the importance of memorizing those scripts too. But what are the different ways you guys are lead generating?
Everywhere we go. I mean, whether it's the people that because Keith talks to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So
What, Keith? I thought you were shy.
I mean, other customers in Best Buy, TJ Maxx. I mean, I talk to the people working there, and so you know, like there was a lady at TJ Maxx, and she had to help me in one department, and anyway, I brought up the real estate and gave her a card and everything, and she was just like, I'm thinking about buying a house, but then she got pulled away, and so I am going back, like you said, get their number.
Yeah.
It's so important because I haven't heard from her.
Yep.
And so you know, I know her name, I know what she looks like, so
That's right.
I'm gonna go get that. But yeah, we always talk to people. We always make sure that they know what we do and that we want to help them.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to sound like a pitch. Like, it's just conversation.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, if you're not in sales, isn't it just a normal conversation when people are getting to know each other? It's
Right.
hey, you know, how long have you lived here? What do you do? Like, it's just normal conversation. And if you want it to go that way, then ask them first, what do you do? Have you always worked here? Or, you know, just make it natural, and it'll just organically happen.
And there's no database without data.
Yes.
You know, if you don't ask, you shall not receive. And then you have nothing, you have a name.
That's
And
right.
that doesn't do you any good.
That's right. That's great. Do you guys hear what he said? There's no database without data. So basically, if you don't get the information, just having a name in there and, you know, a weird email address isn't enough for you to actually make it a useful database. So yeah, that's great. And then, you know, it is important though when you get started to time block. It is just because what happens is if you don't, it's just like going to the gym. If you don't start doing the activities on a regular basis consistently when you're starting your business, it won't become second nature for you.
Doesn't become a habit.
Yeah, it doesn't become a habit. So I think super important is script practice, lead generating. But remember, you can do that in any way. Like I told you guys, I think Monday, I hate cold calling. I hate doing it in my current role. I hated doing it when I was in production. So I was a big fan of door knocking, and I was never a big fan of open houses. I hated open houses. But joining business groups and going to those breakfasts, going to those breakfasts and anything like that, anything social where it was just a natural relationship. And I gotta say, social media, don't discount that as a lead generation tool as well. And that's a good one too, because it really doesn't take up time. So if you either have an admin or get Jamie to help you come up with a social media marketing plan, and it's not just Facebook ad campaigns, because those are great, don't get me wrong, we're seeing great success with those with our duty agents, but it is, okay, I'm gonna make a post every day, and this is what it's gonna be about. It could be about mortgage rates, it could be about roofers, it could be about whatever. And there's a way that you can schedule your posts. You can create them in bulk and then schedule them to go. So it's not a daily thing you got to go do and think of what you're going to post and find an image. You can spend a Saturday and say, okay, I'm going to plan out my month of March social media posts and put that out there. I definitely say anytime you're previewing property, take pictures and say, great day showing property, right? Even if you don't have a buyer with you, just put it out there, take a picture from the condo, take a picture. You know, we did that social media campaign where we told everybody to do yard signs, because we wanted to paint social media Keller Williams. And we had all of our agents take selfies with their yard signs. It might not be their listing, but they were in front of a listing with a Keller Williams yard sign. And we just blasted it, and it was crazy effective. We had our agents get so many listings from that they would just call and say, listen, I had this other agent, but I see all the great things you're doing. You're out there working so hard all the time. And they just pick up the phone call. Lynn Cook got like a $500,000 listing from blasting that. So those little things, that's lead generating, because Facebook leads are legit. And always remember, always mention, Keller Williams, Alabama, Gulf Coast, if you are talking about real estate, because AREC is super strict about those guidelines. And they love to find people. So just make sure you always have that listed.
So may I ask you a question? As someone that's getting into the business, not licensed yet, and you guys talk about your training, is there going to be, do you do social media training? I know you mentioned you have
we have done it. We don't have an in-house person really that does it. We might do a mastermind and bring a couple people who are really killing it on social media, and they share ideas and let people know. We have brought in on multiple occasions a third-party company that does a social media class.
Okay.
And that's probably coming up due again. That's definitely something. Yeah, we will.
As an older guy, I'm a little weak on that.
Yeah, and ultimately, once you figure out how to work the site, it's easy. Just share your stuff. That's all it is. I love it just because I get so many leads from it that I can refer out to you guys, because people think I'm still in production. Because I'm sharing all the stuff you guys do. People don't pay attention and realize that it's not me, it's all what you guys are doing.
And the second question would be, I went online just to check lead generation, because I feel that's going to be my weakest part. Discussing and talking about property, I feel pretty strong about. So there seems to be several lead generation things that you can buy.
Yep.
With your experience, are there some that just are not worth it, and there's some that you would highly recommend?
Most of them are good if it's a way to look up phone numbers. Like if it's a way to look up for sale by owners, I've used those a lot in the past. But if you don't want to make that investment, you just go to forsalebyowner.com or Craigslist, and you just got to check to make sure they're not in MLS first, and then just call them directly that way. There's a lot of good ones out there, but are they necessary? No, not really.
Okay.
Because if you're buying leads, you mean like paid for leads?
I'm not sure how it worked exactly. There just seemed to be several systems, like Zulu. When I bought my investment properties, it was because I was sitting in my office board and I was on Zulu looking, and I said, okay, I like that. And then somehow an agent would call me.
Yep.
I don't know if you have to pay for the premium level in Zulu as an agent for that.
Zulu or Zillow?
Zillow, sorry.
I was like, I've never heard of Zulu.
Yes.
So yeah, Zillow, by the way, their mission as a company is to put realtors out of business.
Yeah.
But yeah, realtor.com, Zillow, things like that, they do provide leads. They're very expensive. The average cost of a lead from Zillow is $35 a lead. But they're changing that. They're changing their structure from a flat rate that you pay every month to a percentage. And it's going up to 40% of the sale. Yeah, I just learned that last week. Yeah. The other thing, and that's why Dawn, we're going to share this class too. I had Dawn do a recorded class to re-educate you guys on how to train your buyer clients to not press schedule a tour. Because what's happening is clients, people don't know, and they see a house on Zillow and they want to schedule a tour and they'll do it. So the Zillow agent is coming, person who paid for the lead and whatever price they paid is coming. And if the buyer ends up making an offer, the one that the Zillow person showed, then they're fighting for that now and trying to cut out the agent that the buyer was already represented by. So if you're already in the habit of getting buyer agency agreements signed, I would say continue that habit and really, in addition to that, educate your clients as to, listen, just like we always have, if you happen to be driving around looking at houses and you go into a D.R. Horton or whatever, make sure you say, as soon as you walk in and introduce yourself, here's my agent's card I'm working with, Tanya with Keller Williams. and then I'm happy to meet you there or whatever. With the Zillow thing and the Realtor.com, educate them during that buyer consult and say, hey, listen, I know you're going to be looking for property online. I love to do it all the time as well. Now that I'm going to be working really hard for you and really narrowing down what you guys are looking for, do me a favor. And if you see something on a Realtor.com or you see something on a Zillow, you know, you're going to have an option to schedule a tour that's actually a Zillow showing that you're asking for. So just instead of doing that, just call me and I can schedule the showing directly. And that's it, just educating them, having the conversation.
Now, Keller Williams is the largest real estate business in North America, right?
Mhm.
What are they doing to protect
world.
themselves from the Zillow monopoly? Because we've seen these other tech companies get out of control and just
We have
wipe us
been,
out. And this is what Zillow's planning on doing.
we knew this was coming years ago.
And what are
That
we
is
doing
why
about it?
Gary Keller started working on this years ago. That's why Gary Keller went ahead and built all of our technology, because the magic is in the data. Who holds the data holds the business, right?
Right.
And who holds the relationships. When we teach our, you know, people work with people they like and they trust. But the data is super important. And so the reason for two things why we stopped using dot loop is because dot loop sold all the information to Zillow. So Zillow had access to go in and see all of our contract details, client information, the details of the deal while the deal was in process. So the moment that happened, Gary severed that relationship. He gave them an option first. Okay, so you can either have an agreement where you don't get our data, period, and you don't sell it, or we go somewhere else. So he renegotiated a deal with DocuSign, and now the data is still ours. It's not being sold to any third-party company. So in addition to that, all the other platforms, that's why we did it, because when you take a risk anytime you spend money on third-party bolt-on technology by that information not being saved. So all of your database and everything, if it's usually in a third party, yeah, so many other people have access to it. So those really aren't your leads. So that's why we started building this, 5 years ago. And, it's technology. Has it worked perfectly and flawlessly for us? No, but we knew that going in, but we knew we had to do it to be, prepare for this. So the latest thing that Zillow did is they bought Showing Time. Showing Time is the tool that our MLS uses for us to go in and schedule a showing for a listing. So now they're owning the leads, they're owning the MLS, they're owning the Showing Time. They're just trying to own the entire package. And if you plugged into any of the family reunion, Gary talks about all this. And he has a revisit the vision speech today at 10:30. We're going to wrap up early so we can log into that and watch it. But this is stuff we knew was coming, and people are just now seeing the reality of it because they're like, oh my God, they bought Showing Time. Oh my God, this is happening. We knew this was happening years ago. Zillow has a brick and mortar in Mobile.
Really, I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yep. Well, hello, Mr. Mergel.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
So anyway, that answers your question. But you have a login for the family reunion, right? Have you gone in there and watched any of the stuff? Yep. Go and watch the recordings. I think we have until April 2nd. Is that right? Is that right, Michael?
I can't remember.
But anyway, go in and watch what you can. We're going to do some replays. We just have such a busy March with the training calendar that we don't have too much time to do it. All right, lead generation model. Hey, Michael, you want to add anything to lead generation real quick?
I was listening over my meeting on what you kind of said. It is really the lifeblood of everything that you need to be doing. I sometimes don't like the term lead generation, so I look at it as prospecting. And so oftentimes like newer agents or even agents in a slump will get into that feeling of, I've called everybody today and they're saying no. Well, if you look at it, something like prospecting, what it really was in the old days, that was like an old miner going out to the stream with a big pan. And if you were that miner, you wouldn't expect to go out there and actually dip into the creek and find a big nugget of gold immediately, right? You'd expect to be out there for days on end and maybe find a flake, then another flake, then eventually a vein. And then, you'd work that vein until it ended, and then you just continuously repeat the process in order to get rich. So just another way to think about it.
Hey, Michael, will you take this over for 1 second?
Yeah.
Just 1 second.
Minutes.
You've been recruited.
Glad to. So the lead generation model here is basically showing, this is as a solo agent because some of the teams have different types of tools that you can actually use, but everything's into a funnel. And you'll see like a funnel system typically used on a lot of the different models, whether you're in real estate or anything else. So this is your prospecting and marketing. And so usually, you know, the marketing kind of happens first. Maybe that's why somebody's calling you. But if no one's calling you or you're new to the business, you know, how do you get into prospecting? Well, you may actually have to make those cold calls, or you may actually have to reach out to people that someone else worked with in the past, or you might have to reach out to expireds or business. That's itself is a form of marketing, the prospecting itself. So if you're not doing advertising like into Command, or you're doing Facebook ads, or you're paying for like Boomtown leads or things like that, ultimately prospecting is going to be your key. And honestly, I think it's one of the most effective ways, actually going out and getting the business. So when you prospect, you capture. So when someone that you first talk to, they're basically a contact. And then eventually they become a prospect if they've told you like, you know what, I'm not interested right now, I'm waiting until the spring, or I'm looking to do something in the fall, or whatever it is. They're now a prospect. They're someone that you've captured. And so where are you going to put somebody if you actually capture them?
Oh, in Command.
Command, yeah. So what's
Definitely
the
Command.
global name for that? It's a database,
The
right?
database,
So
your
it's the
CRM.
keys in the data. So yeah, you're going to put them in your CRM, because what all these people that we begin to meet and we begin to know, we're going to forget about them, right? So I have like constantly toggle between 5,000 friends on Facebook. I do not know all those people. In fact, new people that want to be my friend, that I want them on there, I have to like delete people that I don't know in order to get them in there. My mind's never going to remember all those 5,000 people. So it's important that we use things like Command or CRMs. We use Boomtown, whatever your database is, that you put people in there so that you can actually remember what you need to do with them. Because there's just no way, especially if you get old like me, there's so much coming in this year that it's falling out this other year. So you can only remember so much. So putting them in here for tracking, that would essentially be putting them into that database, their leads, their contacts. This is, let's see, one-way offer-based touch programs. So these are people that maybe you've got their contact info and you're going to put them on some sort of a drip campaign so that you're touching base with them. You're definitely going to put tasks in there. You want to touch base with these people at least once a month so you can remind them in business. It's all about timing in this business. I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten to call somebody that told me they were going to list in the spring. And so I think I'm smart. I'm going to call them April 1st. Well, they listed March 1st and they're already pending with somebody. So keeping in contact at that level is super important. And then contacts, connecting, offering, interactive, value-based touch programs. Those are all built out. Those are the drip campaigns. That might actually even be putting somebody on an MLS type of drip where they're looking for properties in Foley. And so those properties in Foley, you're constantly, anytime something shows up, you're not only dripping that to them so they get it right away, but you're following up with them and letting them know, hey, did you see that property in Foley? Would you like to see it? I know you're looking for a property in Foley that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, under 250,000. Here it is. It's not going to last for long. Let's do it. That's an example of some value-added information. So you're connecting with these people. These people will begin to present themselves by not only interacting with you. You know, you'll see that as you're beginning to drip people. All of a sudden, they're reacting to emails that you've sent, that your system's automatically sending to them. And then ultimately, you're cultivating people and you're pushing them down into here. And that's an interactive and action-based touch programs that's nurtured and qualified. So nurtured is like someone like, I don't know, I'm not ready right now, but they're still receptive to getting some information from you. And so you're going to put them on some sort of a nurture drip. And then qualified would be someone that's ready to get going. And, you know, that's when you're going to ultimately do an appointment. Last thing I'm going to add in here is like when you're talking to these people on the phone, or you're talking to them via internet, you're not selling them a house, you're selling them a relationship and an appointment. And so always remember that. Your goal is to get the appointment, to get in front of them.
Thanks, Michael. Perfect timing.
It's automatic.
I've never seen that before.
No, and you'll only see it 100 more times. Michael, this is Jason Montgomery.
Hey, Jason.
I think we
He,
talked last night.
Okay.
oh,
yeah,
good,
that's it.
good. And Mandy's here. Mandy. No, that's Barry's business partner, not yours, just
Okay.
kidding.
I'll meet Mandy.
Too many
later.
people.
Thanks.
I'll introduce you.
Thanks.
All right, cool. Are we done with this one, Michael?
I got to appointments and then active under contract close.
Yeah, well, that's pretty obvious. So once you get the appointment, then the concept is to obviously get something active, whether it's a listing or whatever, and then get something under contract, take it to close. But this is lead generation. But really the whole goal, and Michael probably already said this, is it's a numbers game. The more people you talk to and the more people you stay in touch with, the bigger your pipeline gets. Move these guys over. Same model right there. Why is it breaking it down like this? Probably everything you just went through. We just
It
didn't,
is.
we didn't move the slides. Be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. I could not agree with this more. Prospecting based, meaning, like we said, always be talking to everyone about real estate on any level. And I think a lot of people, when they first get started too, is they feel hesitant because they don't want to sound salesy, right? They don't want to feel like they're putting it out there, because we've all been on the other side of people who do that. You know, oh my God, shut up. You don't want to feel like you're being pitched, right? That's the worst. And that's where the importance of script practice really comes in. As annoying, as embarrassing as it can be sometimes, I like to do it just because it makes it fun. But it really helps. My business changed a great deal when that happened. And then marketing enhanced, meaning just enhance, your business and those conversations by putting your stuff out there. And I just say the best marketing is posting what you're doing. You don't have to be a bragger or whatever. Just show people what you do every day. Viewing properties. Yeah, I'm on my way to a listing appointment. Wish me luck, or something like that. So money intensive, passive, long-term results. The thing about it is the more, because for every 250 contacts in your database, you should get 12 deals from that a year. So if you think about that numbers game, that's why the importance of growing that database, because your repeat and referral is really not going to kick in until like year 3 when you're in the business. And you'll have to be doing less of that, picking up the phone and calling. You always want to pick up the phone and stay in touch with your database. And I think the most effective for repeat and referral is after that closing, you stay in touch with those clients. Sarah Turner does a great job of that. And she'll remind them to do different things, like don't forget about your termite bond, and don't do this. Like they don't stop hearing from her after. Another agent said that after closing, at closing, they don't deliver the closing gift that day. They wait and deliver it to the house. So they have a reason to do another pop by and stop by. And I think that's cool. So the relationship after that deal, that will get you more referrals, and that'll definitely get you repeat business. Database, your database centrally stores information, updated regularly. It can be organized to meet specific needs. Lead generation feeds your database. So your database, where you store it and how you maintain it is key. And we have this in our technology. It's called Command. And the cool thing about when you do a Facebook ad campaign through Command, because we partnered with, Keller Williams partnered with Facebook and Google, and we can do Facebook ads through Command at a fraction of the price and get the same amount of leads and the equivalent level of leads like you get from Zillow. Our average cost of lead in this market center, because we run ads for agent body and pass leads out, I think it's 68 cents was the average cost for us last month per lead. Nationally for KW, I think it's $1.30. When you look at, $30 being the cost for a Zillow lead, and we're getting the same results, that's pretty huge. But when that lead comes in, it automatically goes into your database. So you'll get an alert, email and says, hey, you have a brand new lead, and you can call them immediately. And that information that they submitted is already in your database, and you can start working it immediately. And I'll tell you right now, in this market, how quickly you respond to these leads is everything. And that's always the case with leads. But right now, if you wait 30 minutes, that might be too long. I mean, you got to be ready to go. So if you do a Facebook ad campaign, or you are paying for any kind of lead generation source, you better be ready to respond to them, because I'm telling you, you call them a minute later and they're like, sorry, I already got another agent already called me, I'm sorry. So it's that crazy right now. So if you can't respond immediately, then may have somebody, have another agent and say, if I send you leads today, can you call them immediately, and I'll give you, I'll share the deal with you, or whatever, however you want to work that out. Lead generation fees, yeah, that's it. I tell you what, our command might have its little hiccups here and there, but I love it. I don't have problems with it when it comes to the CRM, the smart plans, and the leads coming in. On the market center level, we have some things that haven't been finalized yet, but I know it's coming. I love our technology, to be honest with you. All right, leads. You have valid contact information, and you can have one-way conversation where you are seeking permission. You have valid contact information, have received permission to have two-way conversation. All right, so a lead, that's basically defining the difference. So a lead is they've raised their hand, or they've reached out, and they have given you permission to contact them. Once they're officially a contact, you've spoken to them, you've gotten an idea of what it is they're looking for. Maybe they're just browsing, but you have asked permission. Hey, do I have your permission? Can I follow up with you maybe once a month or once a week? Or can we meet in person for a buyer consultation, something like that? That's when they're officially a contact and no longer a lead. And I always ask for permission when I had a lead come in. I'd get an idea of what it was. And even if they're 3 years out, they're a contact then. And I just know that's my business 3 years from now. And I get an idea of why they're relocating, what they're going to think they're going to want to be looking for at that time. And then I say, I'd love to stay in contact with you. How often would you like to hear from me? I could call you monthly. I can call you quarterly. And they'll tell you, they're like, that would be great, thanks. And then I will say, is there anything specific you would like me to, give you or send you on a regular basis? And they'll tell you. You just come from contribution. 19 to connect. 4 touches, quarterly phone calls. Okay, this is the leads. This is typically with leads, how many opportunities sometimes you have to do to actually connect with them. And this is kind of old data right here, but 4 touches, quarterly phone call, 12 touches, monthly email, newsletter, market report, video, anything like that. Then 2 touches, which is a promotional or direct mail, a calendar, a magnet, something like that. And then 1 touch would be like an annual event, a party, movie screening, whatever. We used to do like a client appreciation for my team. And we would do that once a year, and we'd invite every client we had for that year. And it would be either a cookout or an outdoor screening of a movie or something like that. We did a Super Bowl party at the Bay one time. So once they're actually a contact in that relation, it's 36 touches to convert them to a deal, and 4 touches telephone calls, 26 touches bi-weekly email offering some type of information or value to them, 2 touches of events, get-togethers or parties, 4 touches of promotional direct mail. And it sounds like a lot, but this is all automated for the most part. I mean, you set them up, so we have the plans made, and you'll know of like a certain smart plan, how many touches that is for the year. Then you'll say, okay, I'm gonna put them on that smart plan, that's 12. With this smart plan, that's another one. You just add them up, and they're getting those automated ones. And then you set up the plan to where it sends you a reminder, a task reminder. Hey, it's time to call this quarterly call for this contact. So everything's really automated. You have to do little as far as just picking up the phone and calling them when your CRM tells you to do so. The work is really in those annual events, but those are fun, and it's only annual, so. All right, so they want us to do a tech demo of Command. I'm not really gonna do that because you guys have all been in command and we have separate command classes and we have enough of that. I don't think a demo is really effective. We're gonna do, yeah, it's really not effective to watch me click around a screen. But it is useful, it works. Is it perfect yet? No, but if you watch, did you hear Gary Keller say, we are making a promise to you, and he's never said something he didn't keep. He said, we're going from that adding new features and making our thing this great to now what we have, we're gonna perfect it and make it work efficiently and no glitches. And he was like, we hear you. You guys are tired of seeing the spinning circle of death, he said.
Well, I really appreciate what he said, because there's a point where you have enough.
Yeah.
And you need to streamline that part before you do any more, because it's just growing.
Mhm.
When you can do the same thing with this much.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
why do this much?
Yep, exactly. And I think what we have is great. Now it just needs to work all the time, right? And I love Josh Team. Josh Team was originally came to our company as the VP of tech and all that. And he's really a genius. I think he went to college at 14. The dude's a genius. But he built our technology and he was the mind behind that. Now that it's there, now Josh Team is moving on to go build technology somewhere else with not another real estate company, but somewhere else. But now he's brought in 2 experts who basically have done this very thing with other Fortune 500 companies where, okay, now you have this raw, beautiful thing. Now let's make it work and really make it efficient for your agents. And those 2 guys that he brought on are super impressive. They were on a team leader call on Monday, and I'm very happy about them. And I like the fact that they're not from our industry. We do a great job as a company from promoting within, and I think that's fantastic. But I think there's also a time when you need to bring fresh eyes and a different perspective from a different industry to really take you to the next level, and that's what he's done, and it really is exciting. So I see good things coming in the next months, year.
So question is, can you have Command as a mobile app as well? And
Yes, you can use it from your phone.
okay, so does it have a different view when it's on your smartphone?
It's a
tablet or
different view.
computer?
Yeah, it's not like yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can work it from your phone.
And from that, can you extract the contacts that are in your phone now into?
Yes, and we
Okay.
do all that for you when you join.
Okay.
Yeah, we have somebody who do that for you. Jamie, who's at our Orange Beach office, she's handling that for all of our onboarding right now, which is great. But yes, you can do that.
Okay. Excellent.
You can import from your phone. You can import from another CRM. You could import from a spreadsheet. You name it.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have a spreadsheet. If you need to put it in the spreadsheet first, we have it a customized one where it is set up to perfectly feed into there,
Right.
so it's not all
I was
jumbled.
gonna say specific format, right?
Yeah, makes life a lot easier. All right, activity, add contacts to your database. Okay, so did you guys do your 10, add 10 new people, talk to 10 people, send 10 cards and preview new properties? That was just yesterday, but actually by today you should have 20.
You want me to be
No.
honest?
Yes, always.
I know.
I don't think we left the house.
No,
So did you talk to anybody?
it's coming. I don't know, did we go anywhere?
No.
We're kind of reclused.
No, we did Zoom. We did Zoom.
Yeah, we did the team meeting
Oh, yeah.
and the
Okay.
Tech Tuesday.
I was in the hospital with Mom. What did we talk about Tech Tuesday yesterday? I can't remember.
What was that?
Taxes.
Taxes.
Yes.
Oh, good, perfect
Yeah,
timing.
reporting your taxes and getting a good.
Oh, I
account.
gotta get my taxes done.
And Centennial Mortgage
Good,
was team meeting.
good.
That was informative.
Hey, Brittany,
Yes.
you weren't here Monday, but the activities that we have to do every day this month, Monday through Friday, is add 10 new people to your database,
Okay,
contact 10 people from your existing database,
okay,
send 10 notes, personal notes, could be to the new contacts, it could be to your sphere of influence, whatever, but send 10 notes a day and then preview property. And it says how many properties? It was 10,
It
wasn't it?
was
It's
10.
10
But that's a
per-
lot.
10 per week.
10 per week, thank you, because I was like, 10 a day is a lot.
And I think I did add like 4 people yesterday
Good,
and some notes on.
good. So
maybe
add 10 new
tasks.
people, talk to 10 existing people, send 10 cards, and preview 10 properties for the week.
Okay, perfect. I will get on that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, hurry up.
Hurry up, get on it. Tech demo. Okay, so let's really talk about lead generating prospecting, all the different ways. So, and everybody's different. Like we said on Monday, some people are machines on the phone, right? Lynn Cook is a machine on the phone. Lynn was on a team for a long time, the Gulf Shores Life team. And with that, you have a pool of leads, and your job is to work those leads in the system. And call them all the time. She could make 100 phone calls a day to complete strangers and make 6 appointments. I mean, she's remarkable on the phone. And she loves it. Like that's her deal. Not everybody's like that. So I say, make a list of all the different ways, right? And so one of them is cold calling. So that would be not a paid for, but that would be like, circle prospecting and knowing you want to focus on a specific neighborhood and getting those phone numbers and just call them, right? One would be a lead generating platform where you're either paying for leads yourself through Facebook ads, or you're, paying a third party company like Land Voice. You can do it. Spokio, you can. RedX is another one. There's a ton of lead generating platforms where you can pay for leads as well as utilize their turbo dialer. It's like a speed dialer, which I've used before, which is really helpful, but I don't like to call that much, so I don't have a need for it now. But as well as a CRM, there's a lot of third-party companies where you can get all that stuff together, right? All 3 things. I have not heard great things about the leads received from like a RedX or anything like that. Boomtown is another one. That's what Michael's team uses. And they get leads, and I mean, I think their leads are decent. I don't think they're anything magical. They're probably equivalent to every other lead if you had to think about it. Jason Abrams says something really great that I love. He's like, there's no such thing as a bad lead, unless it's like, back off at fu.com is the email they give you or something like that.
That's
I mean,
nice.
we've all got,
That's
that's a bad lead, right? And you're gonna get those.
Unless they're a cash buyer.
Yeah, unless. Exactly. The deal is you just have to figure out where in the cycle of buying they are, and then know where to place them, and then make sure that you keep them on the proper communication schedule. Because listen, if I know I'm gonna get 10 deals, 2 years from now, in the first 3 months of the year, great, I'm gonna do everything I can to stay in touch with them, because that's my future money.
So that goes to my question, when you guys talk about cold calls in the real estate business. I mean, I get other industries, but cold call in the real estate business, you talk about targeting a neighborhood. Are you literally just calling them up and saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent in your area, if you're looking at selling or buying?
Yeah, I've said that.
That's how the call goes?
Yeah, it depends. There's a couple different ways it could go. Right now, what my calls would be is we have a large number of qualified buyers looking in this area and in this price range, and our inventory is at a record low. Do you or any of your neighbors, are interested in selling their property?
Okay.
Because that's a real thing we're having to do to find properties for our buyers. Like
Yeah.
But even when the market wasn't like this, I would say that. That's what I would say when I would door knock. I would take the recently sold, the currently actives, printouts from MLS, staple my business card, knock on the door, and just introduce myself and say, hey, listen, just wanted to introduce myself, see you face to face, and let you know that our inventory just got sold. And we have at the time I was on a team, and we did have a pool lead of like 5,000 leads in our system. I was like, we have literally thousands of leads of qualified buyers wanting to move down here. Problem is we don't have any inventory, so we're out there seeking inventory. So if you have thought about selling, I'd love to do a CMA and let you know what your home value is, or hey, have you heard any whispers in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's received well.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I mean, now you have the investors, the Kirby's out there,
Yeah.
and those guys want to do cash sales, no closing, blah, 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 but they're significantly below market value. When they-
Significantly, yeah.
So I just want to make sure that there's a way to filter between those people and a legitimate agent saying, hey, this might take 90 days, but give me an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, you're not offering to buy their house.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's the difference. You're just looking to service your existing pool of buyers. Like here, I'm out here working for my buyers and they're not getting what they want. Are you interested in selling? You're just coming from a place of contribution for your buyers and for the neighborhood as well, because a lot of people might not want to sell right now for whatever reason, but they might be clueless as to what the market is actually doing and how much they could get for their home.
That makes sense.
That's really common right now.
I think we could probably do 3 CMAs with the 3 common sizes of homes in our neighborhood
Uh-huh.
and hit every segment of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just have that in advance and drop it off and say,
Yeah.
look, this is what you could get.
But very,
Realistic.
very important, do everything you can to gather their information while you're standing there. So what I used to do is I had a little name, email, phone number, right? And I would stand there and write it myself. Don't give it to them to write, because then you can't read what it
Right.
says, and then you'll think it's the wrong email or phone number. And I would just say, I would love to send you what's really going on in the market and give you a real clear idea of what you can get your home for. Do you mind if I email this to you later today? Or I can text you a quick snapshot right now. Are you familiar with HomeSnap and how you can do that instant CMA? So HomeSnap is a feature that we have, you'll get when you get licensed. It's through MLS, but you can literally stand there and in the conversation, just put in their home. Actually, you could just put your phone up and take a picture of it and it pulls it up. And it'll do a quick, very short version of a CMA. It doesn't give them too much, but you can say, hey, I can give you the full thing. I'll email it to you later, but I can text this to you right now. And you can just literally do it on the spot and they have it in their phone. That was super effective when I did that door knocking. Another thing is a lot of people door knock for or cold call for open houses. And open houses are real. I hate doing them and sitting in them, but I would do open houses for every chance I got, so I could do the legwork before the open house because I got so many listings from it. So that included cold calling, circle prospecting in the neighborhood, right? To call and say, hey, we just have this house listed in your neighborhood. I just wanted to let you know, and we're going to be having an open house, next Sunday from 2 to 4. We're going to have a neighbor-only preview the hour before. So if you want to come by at 1, from 1 to 2, it's just invite-only neighbors if you want to come preview. And if you know of any friends that want to live in this neighborhood. Because the truth is, you're going to have the nosy neighbors come anyways. So whoever's holding the open house, it's better for those nosy neighbors to come the hour before, so they can not waste your time for actually prospective buyers that are there to buy, right? Because you can only talk to so many people at once. You don't want to be talking to the nosy neighbor and a good buyer or prospect walkout. And it shows those neighbors how hard you work for your listings and for your clients. And it puts you at front of mind. They're like, dang, she's out here calling and knocking on, and it's just a $150,000 listing. That's pretty awesome. And they'll use you. And then you have their contact information in your database, and then you can put them on these drips. Aged expireds right now is what I am thinking everybody should be doing. If I was still in production, I would be doing nothing but calling aged expireds. And what I mean by that is it's not pull up the expireds that expired today and only call those. It's
When you
pull
say
up
expired from what?
from, they were just recently listed
Oh, okay.
and they didn't sell. And that most people take listings for 6 months, minimum of 6 months. Some people do 3 months. Right now you could do a listing for 3 months and so you're selling it in less than 30 days. So, but we always recommend don't take a listing less than 6 months. But usually people call expireds. They look that morning and they say, okay, what properties expired today? I'm going to call those because apparently the agent didn't do their job selling it, because average days on market is 36 days and that was on the market for 6 months and it didn't sell. It was either overpriced or the agent didn't do their job. So you call and you say, this is Tanya Bauer with Keller Williams. I just noticed your property expired this morning. Let me ask you, do you have any thoughts on why you think your property didn't sell? And then they'll usually vomit their complaints all over, you know, how their agent was terrible or whatever, which is great. Now you know what their frustrations are. That way you know how you can fix that. And then you say, are you still interested in selling? They're like, yeah, I was going to start interviewing agents. Always be the first agent that they interview, never be the second or last. And schedule a interview to list their property. Sometimes you can get the listing on the phone because by looking at the listing, you might be able to figure out why it didn't sell. Did you realize it was overpriced? Did you realize the listing agent was only offering 2% to the buyer's agent? Like that kind of stuff. But by aged expired, I mean pull expired from 6 months or more. People who had their property listed, it didn't sell and they haven't relisted it.
Yeah, they're just testing the market out.
They were testing the market out, and those are really good right now. Because very few things are going to be expiring now because things are not staying on the market. And people that had their property listed, 6 months, 12 months ago, they don't really know what's going on in the market, and they don't realize the value of their property probably has increased significantly since then.
And the interest rates have probably dropped.
Yeah, significantly, but
That's
that's
a big
temporary. And that's another thing. That's another thing, reaching out to your buyers as well. Educate them. And if you're not familiar with what's going on, call your local lender. Say, listen, what's going on with the market? What you guys are predicting and the rates, all that stuff. Call a Keller mortgage person. They're happy to have these conversations. Make a lender take you to lunch once a month.
Does the Keller Williams mortgage send out newsletters to your agents so you're aware of what's going on in the market?
There's
Or do you have to
constant
make that
emails
call?
going out. No, there's
Okay.
constant emails going out. And then they have, on our KW Connect, there's always information that they're pouring out there. Yeah, it's always out there. And I haven't looked at it recently, but on the Keller Mortgage app, there was a place where you could create marketing material, get that stuff where you just download it and send it out, where they would create graphics that had the updated
Okay.
stuff.
So if you're doing a newsletter, you can incorporate
Yes, yeah. And are you familiar with Keller Mortgage? Did we talk about that?
that. You mentioned that you had it, which is the first I knew
Yeah.
that existed.
Nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no mortgage rate or fees, and they give you $1,000 rebate. It's been really good.
Yeah.
So I can't remember, it was last year from like January to October of our agents who utilize Keller Mortgage for their clients. In that time frame, we calculated it, and Keller Mortgage saved our clients a collective of like close to $300,000. That's a big deal,
Yeah.
right? So
Do
it's
they
really
do
good.
veteran loans? VA loans?
Yes. Yeah, we're a big veteran company overall. I love that we support our vets. So yes, they do. And they're really great. And what I love is you can reach somebody instantly. It's not you don't have to wait forever to get a call back. And they've saved a lot of our deals. All right. Hey, Carl, what's been your main source for lead generating lately?
Just cold calling off of Red X mostly.
Yeah, so you're getting leads through RedX.
Yeah, through Geno leads, yeah.
What's your opinion on the quality of leads that you're receiving? Because Jason had that question.
Probably better than like Cole reports, but still not obviously 100%. I mean, it's probably, I would say 50% accurate most of the time.
Very cool.
As far as having the right name or right number or having a number, so.
Yeah. So you're just cold calling. Have you done any open houses or door knocking or events or anything?
I have not yet, no.
Okay. Another thing, speaking of events, so later this month, we are having an event. It's going to be two-sided though, because we've noticed as a market center, a lot of people getting out of the restaurant industry and seeking a career in real estate, right? Due to COVID and everything. And these people have been rock stars in the last year that have come. So we're hosting an event. The first half is going to be basically, if you want information, it's like a path to real estate thing like yesterday. This is how you do it. The second half is going to be first time home buyer information. So we're going to have a lender there and a credit repair person this is an example of good events for agents to host. So partner with, could be title company, could be a lender, but I always say do a credit repair person and a lender, and they will market it for you. They will cover the cost of the event. There's not enough first-time home buyer seminars out there right now. So I'm excited for this because that's a perfect demographic of people to talk to about it. And you know, the way that most of their money is made cash, right? It's not all reported.
Mhm.
So there's little tricks that the loan officer and everything can give them as far as preparing to apply for a loan. So I would do first-time home buyer seminars. I would do, if you have a neighborhood that you want to specialize in, or if it's your neighborhood, I would do a quarterly event and make it something fun. Be consistent with it where all the neighbors look forward to it, and have a lender come. Like I've done Boo at the Bay in my neighborhood, where I invited the entire neighborhood. A lender paid for the hot dogs and hamburgers, and we brought a grill, and the kids carved pumpkins, and we were down at the water. And then once the sun set, we had big outdoor screen and we played a scary movie. And it was a blast. And I think I not only had my neighborhood there was probably 85 people there. And since then they're always reaching out. Hey, you're doing that event again? Are you doing that? What if we do a Super Bowl thing? What if we do this? And I don't talk about, in conversations, real estate will come up, but it's not about anything but just bringing the community together, them knowing that you're the person that does that consistently and what you do. Now, obviously I had my work stuff everywhere because I use it, like my logo on the Yeti, and you know, my logo on the back of the projector thing, all that stuff, but subliminal, and just being that person. Make it fun when you're lead generating. I don't like doing stuff I don't enjoy, so I just meet people out all the time, constantly. I don't care where I am. My daughter's school, her sporting events, her dance class. When I don't have my daughter, if I'm having dinner at the bar, I probably end up leaving with 6 contacts minimum by the time I leave a restaurant or a bar. But I talk to everybody. And I'm not afraid to go anywhere alone either, because I know I'm going to make 20 friends before the end of the night.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is. It's just do whatever you like doing, but do it consistently. The moment you stop doing it, you feel it months later. And this is another thing, you guys, when you do get that first deal and you get those first 2 deals, it's really easy to become focused on those 2 deals, right? You want everything to be perfect, and you over obsess over making sure everything is perfect, which is great. That's why you're going to be a great agent. But don't let that take away time for you doing that daily lead generating prospecting. Because I've heard it 100,000 times, those closings happen and people go, oh my God, I don't have anything in my pipeline. Like there's nothing. Oh God, I spent this last month and a half making sure these deals worked and closed, and now I haven't been lead generating, so now they're another month behind. And it's kind of a vicious cycle if you keep doing it. And it doesn't have to be 5 hours a day, minimum 2 hours a day. And if I was new again, I would be doing it 4 hours in the morning, to be perfectly honest with you, until I got business going, for sure. And then keep your pipeline full. Know who is 30 days or less. Know who is 30 to 60 days. Know who is 60 days plus out. And then keep that somewhere, because you know that's your next 3 months, right? You know what money's coming in those next 3 months. So you know if one of those fall off or they change their mind or whatever, you got to fill that in. And then it'll just filter down, like the funnel thing that he was talking about. And then it just becomes second nature, and you're lead genning and you don't even realize you are. Just because it's like, oh, this isn't so hard. This is just having conversations. And then I'm going to be like, I need you to teach a class on prospecting and lead gen.
Well, it's like being in production, you know, you feed yourself, you're dumping to a hopper, it's feeding a production line, and you let that hopper get too low, then you're having a, oops, I need to haul some material up, and then you're behind.
Yep.
And you don't ever get caught up. It's like you can't feed it fast enough, and then it's all sucked out and you're done, and then your whole process is blown up.
Yeah, I love the sound effect.
That's kind of what it sounds like too.
Oh, right, let me see if I'm missing anything, because this is not really a 4-hour thing. It's just talk to people, be creative, make yourself stand out. If there's nothing new that you have to invent, that's another thing people like to do too. They have these grandiose ideas, and I was like, I love, be different, make videos. By the way, this is something you can do. And I'm like, can't urge agents to do this enough. Make videos. People, don't be the one that you're walking around in circles and you get motion sickness from just watching it. But just make a video about something. Do it on a weekly basis. Do it on, I don't care what it is. But, you know, say you just recently sold something in the beach club and you learned all this stuff about beach club. Do a little quick video on beach club and explain there's different levels of HOA and how many different buildings they are and what the bedroom sizes vary. And just do a quick thing, put it on your YouTube channel that you all have as being an agent with us. Everybody has their own YouTube channel. Put it on there, and I'm telling you that stuff. People watch that stuff. Do like, I don't know, there's an agent in Mobile that does them consistently. But my favorite guy, I want to find him on here and show you his videos. I can never remember his name. But he lives down in Celebration, you know, that little town near Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sells real estate there, and he does these videos on YouTube, and some of them are funny. Some of them are just interviewing an agent on his team. I'm going to start doing them for the market center and ask agents, okay, you sell a lot on Island. This month, I need you to do a video for me, and this is what I want you to include on it. And I'm going to put it on our page, and then I'm going to start interviewing agents, get to know our agents. That I want when people Google Alabama Gulf Coast, it's all your all's videos and our videos, and they are already familiar with, you know, different areas before they physically come down, and they're educated on it because we educated them. Nobody's doing that. There's so much opportunity there, and you could do fun ones. All the festivals we have down here, like the mullet toss, for Christ's sake. Who knew what a mullet toss was before you moved here? Do you know what it is?
I do, yeah.
I still don't quite understand it, why people are throwing dead fish. It's disturbing, but when I first moved down here, I was like, are there like mullet wigs I thought it was like the bad hair days.
Oh,
yes, I was like, what? It is at the Floribama, which would make sense, right?
Yeah.
But nobody that doesn't live here knows about the dang thing. So do a funny video about that. The polar bear dip on January 1st that we do every year. All the festivals.
I don't think it counts here, though. Your water's.
I don't know, it gets pretty cold. I don't want to jump in it on January 1st. Hey, Carl, do you have any questions or anything you want to add?
I don't think so. You know, I think the biggest thing I struggle with just trying to find good data, you know, that's the challenge I'm sure everybody has, so. But I like the ideas of, you know, the events, especially like the events of a mortgage company or somebody paying for those, so I like that, and we'll pursue that.
Yeah, and they're happy to do it. They're not annoyed by that. They'll sponsor an open house with you, and they'll offer to go to the open house, which is always great to have them there because they can answer certain questions that you can't. And they'll make your flyers for you because they'll put their little logo on there, and they'll do all that stuff for you.
Do we have a relationship with the big industries here, like the Airbuses, the people who were bringing in people temporarily and leaving and so forth?
We have a few agents that do, but we don't have as a company,
Okay,
a relationship, but we do have a few agents that do.
all right. Do they specialize in the relocation side of it, or is it just the
They do.
relationship with the HR department?
No, the relocation side of it.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean there's not opportunity there.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I can name 2 or 3 and they're not doing that much. So there's opportunity there. I also think there's opportunity with military. I don't know why we don't have agents that focus more on that. My ex-husband was a colonel in the Army, and that was when I was real estate, when I was married to him, that was my focus. I connected with them and I was getting all the military
Is
reloads.
there a base here?
Oh, no, I was in Georgia.
Okay. Dang, and I guess Pensacola would be a good one. for that.
Yes, yes.
And Mississippi.
Yep.
Alabama, I don't know that, unless there is
We
something.
have a lot of
Coast
mil-
Guard.
We Coast Guard. There you go.
My
Yeah.
neighbor's Coast Guard guy, so.
Yep.
Tanya, who helps you with your YouTube?
Yeah.
You say we all have a YouTube?
Jen, she's our magician. Hello.
Hey.
Thank you, Melissa. Oh, a smart view for your database. Okay, that's what that's talking about. So in Command, you can customize what that home screen looks like every day when you go in. So do you want to log in and see all your tasks due here and your calls you need to, you know what I mean? So you can customize what that looks like. This is not the class to do that. We'll have another class on that. Plus we have a regional tech director that is awesome now, and his name is Taylor Johnson. I think he's another little genius. He looks like he's 12. He looks like Doogie Howser, but he is smart and responsive and knows, like, if I call and say, what is going on with command? This is not working, and that's not working. He's like, they're already on it. I've been in touch with them. They're fixing it. So he's a great resource for us.
Is he new?
New-ish. Yeah.
So is he on the call list, the phone list?
No, he's not on our roster. I can send you his number. I'll text you. I have his cell number and his email, but you can find him in the white pages in KW
Okay.
intranet. Hey Carl, where's your database?
Command,
What'd you say?
command.
Oh, I thought he said in my head. I was like,
You're good.
okay, good.
It's like a mainframe with anyway.
In my head. I have a great memory. And then the smart plans, are you guys all using smart plans? Do you have your people set up on smart plans?
Yes.
Have you created your own, or are you using ones that are already in there?
Both.
Okay, cool. Have you guys created smart plans yet?
Yes,
It's super easy.
we've sent them to ourselves. Actually, I sent them to one person. We've got a little tweaking to do.
The smart plans are basically our email drip.
Okay.
And it's cool because they have not demo, but basic ones in there, birthday, neighborhood nurture, whatever, stuff already done, but you can it's so easy to create your own. The hardest part is what do I write in there? But so now agents can just upload their own if they're using something that works. So there's so many in there now. So many different versions. And if you like one of them and you just go in and change things you want to, if you want to, but you can create it from scratch too. Super cool. And it'll text directly too. So if you want one of the steps to be a text message, then you can do that. I use that for my position. What I can't wait for is go ahead.
I'm sorry, do you use Twilio for that texting, or do you do otherwise?
Twilio, yeah, that's what I use.
Yes.
It's super cheap and it connects right to command. It links to command just like our Facebook and our Instagram and all that stuff.
I think the only thing I didn't like about that is it doesn't use your number. So is there any way to have it use your particular phone number?
I don't believe so. I didn't want my number used. The way I avoid that too is every text message that I schedule, I put my signature at the bottom of it so they know what my actual number is when they receive the message.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if it is your number, can you imagine if you sent a text message to 280 people or 500 people in one day, and what if they all decided to respond? You know what I mean? Or to say, go away and yeah, you don't want that. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. All right, making sure that. All right, any other creative lead gen ideas you guys have? We talked about cold calling, door knocking, open houses, calling expireds, for sale by owners. That's how I've been doing business in Atlanta, is for sale by owners. Now, I will say there's still FSBOs out there, but they're selling quickly on their own right now. Not that they don't need us, not that they wouldn't have sold it for more money with us, but they're selling it so quickly, plus, and to get a for sale by owner, it's usually a 4 to 6 week nurture relationship, and everything's selling so quickly. So still call them. I'm not saying don't do it, but I would say if you drive past one, just get out of the car and go knock on the door. Don't waste time. But that's still a good option. We had somebody get a FSBO the other day. But when the market, kind of calms down a little bit, then that's always a good source. for deals because I had it down to a science where I kept my pipeline of for sale by owners that I followed with on a weekly basis. I always had 20 for sale by owners that I called every single Friday to check in, see how their showings are going and hear their level of frustration increase each week. And then from that, I would get 2 to 3 listings a month of for sale by owners. And then once I either listed those, I'd say, okay, I gotta find 3 more for sale by owners to add to my pipeline. And it was consistent, 2 to 3 per month.
And was your source the Fizbo.com and Craigslist, or was it
Everything.
just scanning them?
I had people trained in my life that if they drove past a for sale by owner, they took a picture of the sign and the number and sent me the address. Like, I'm like, if you see a
That's
Fizbo,
good.
yeah, send it to me immediately. So I had people doing that. I mean, I'm saying friends, relatives, you name it. People would do that. If I saw one, I would park my car in front of the house, get out and knock on the door. And I always had certain things in my car when I was in production, you know, certain contracts, because you just never know if technologies isn't gonna work in your favor. While I was still wasting time with my buyers, but I hate buyers. So you guys can have all of them, I guess. I had every emergency kit. I had a first aid kit. I had Windex, paper towels, wipes, extra diapers, because I've experienced that problem where people bring a kid and there's a blowout, and then why they don't have a diaper, I don't know. Like, you name it. My trunk was like, you can live in it. Bottles of water, a little cooler. But yeah, just stop, knock on the door and have a conversation with them. But I would look at Craigslist. I did that before Craigslist got so shady though. For salebyowner.com. And that's great because you can contact the seller directly. So I would literally just pick up the phone and call them. And my approach to for sale by owners is knowing that I'm not going to get the listing right away. I come from a place of, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm calling about 123 Main Street. I'm just curious, is this property still on the market? Oh, yes, it is. Well, that's great. I'm calling you with Keller Williams. And I just wanted to, you know, reach out. I have a lot of buyers right now that I'm working with, so I would love to add your property to my inventory. So if by chance one of my buyers is interested in your property, would you be willing to work with a buyer's agent? And they'll either say, yeah, absolutely, or they'll say, I don't know, what does that mean? What does that mean I would pay? And I would say, well, it's negotiable, but it ranges anywhere between 3% and 4%, but it depends. And again, it's negotiable. But that would only be a discussion we had if I had a qualified buyer for you. And then they say, oh yeah, I could do that. That's fine. I'm good with that. And I'd say, okay, great. I would love to see the home through your eyes. Do you mind if I schedule a preview? And I have today or tomorrow at this time or that time. And they loved it, right? And I would schedule a preview. I've never had anybody tell me I couldn't preview it. Schedule the preview, go meet them. I never once asked for the listing, ever. I go with a notepad and I let them show me around and ooh and all over their ugly wallpaper and, you know, whatever they got, but make notes. And while we're walking through, I'm asking all the questions. Why are you relocating? Where are you going? What's your time frame? All the whys. You want to know what their motive is. Hello, Mr. Brown. You want to know what their motivation is for leaving, and you know, you want to find their pain. Like, because if they're relocating because they have a new job, right? They have to be somewhere by a certain time, and they have to buy another place. So that means, you know, you got to sell this house in a certain amount of time, and you kind of have to bring that pain out. Okay, so what if you're not able to sell it by the time you get there? What are you going to do? Oh, well, I'm sure I will. What if? Like, what's your options? You know, can you manage 2 mortgages, or, you know, just really get to it without being too aggressive in that first meeting. And then once you're done, I would always just say, oh my God, I love your home. I'm excited to add it to the inventory. I have a couple of buyers in mind, so I'm going to send it to them. And do you mind if I follow up with you every week? I usually follow up the same time every week, just so you know I'm calling. I'll call you on Fridays at noon. Is that cool? Oh, I love that. Absolutely. I just leave my card and I say, hey, I know this property is beautiful and I know you're going to sell it on your own, but in the event that you even crosses your mind that you're not going to sell it on your own, would you promise me that you'll give me a call? And they're like, absolutely, right? And then I literally just call every single week. I would call all my FSBOs the same time of day, and it got to a point so much where they were like, hey, Tanya, like, they were looking forward to it. And what you hear is every week, you're like, how's it going? How are the showings? And the first couple of weeks, like, oh my God, it was great. So many interested buyers. And then week 2, week 3, they're like, oh my God, I'm tired of these people wasting my time. You know, this guy couldn't even qualify for a loan. And then you remind them, oh, that is frustrating. I can't imagine. I mean, that's part of the benefit of working with me is I don't put anybody in my car until I have a pre-qual letter. That kind of stuff. Just remind them.
I take this off of you.
Yeah.
Taking this headache off of you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll offer to do flyers for them. I'll offer to hold an open house. And then I'll get other listings in there before they call me to sell theirs because I'm door knocking for that open house. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to call eventually and say, I'm over this. Will you just come list the property? And all the objections that you normally have in a listing appointment, you've already had a casual conversation over those, 4 to 6 weeks. The deal is everybody thinks all the agents are calling FSBOs, but they're not. They're calling on that first week they pop up, right? They see the sign, and then the seller never hears from them again. It's the follow-up. The magic is in the follow-up in everything real estate, but especially with for sale by owners. But I guarantee you, if you have 20 in your pipeline every single month, you'll get 2 to 3 listings a month. 97% of FSBOs end up listing with a real estate agent. Why not let it be you? But they are selling quicker right now. It's not unheard of to get them, but aged expires is what I will be focused on right now solely. Or if you know of a neighborhood that, somebody's interested in, don't hesitate to go knock on the door. I mean, I took a picture for my neighbor. My neighbor's mom is moving down here, and she had told me what she was interested in. And I looked on MLS and I was like, I don't see anything right now, and I'll see what my agents have coming up. And I drove past another house the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what she's looking for. Took a picture of it, found it old when it used to be on the market, sent it to her mom. She's like, I want the house. And I knocked on the door for her. And I was like, listen, this is really weird. I'm a real estate agent, not in production, but I'm an agent, but I know somebody who might be interested in buying your house. Have you thought about selling it? And she was like, we were just talking about that the other night. We noticed the market's kind of crazy. We might be interested. So I got them connected to an agent. I mean, that's just the way to do it. Be fearless.
Does an MLS allow you to filter through school zone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's pretty important.
Yep. I mean, there's not really anything you can't filter through in our MLS. It's
But
pretty.
it's changing in Baldwin County. So how is that updated, and who updates that?
MLS updates it, and it's updated as it changes, like
It is,
immediately. Okay. Yeah. What are you talking about changes?
But
What's
they're
changing
building
them?
new
The new schools. Yeah, they're added as they're open.
Yeah, and I found out yesterday, I think by someone in here, that it's going to be a middle school and high school as well. And I thought it was just an elementary school. So
Where? What school?
it's a rock. They're going to call it Stonebridge.
Oh, that's right. I have heard about that.
But I thought it was just elementary.
Yep.
Apparently it's a high school and middle school. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a big change.
Yeah, and Orange Beach Middle and High just opened this year.
Is that the one where the principal quit?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Sort of resigned, quit, whatever. Okay. It's a good looking school.
all right, you guys, do your 10 new contacts, call 10 people in your database, preview properties, and write 10 notes.
Hey, Tanya, one question before we go.
Say again?
Just one question on FSBOs.
Yeah.
So I know her group had this. Do we have anything that we can do, like just the transaction type coordinator paperwork for 1% or anything like that?
Yeah,
Got away? Okay.
absolutely.
Just not-
Oh,
Yeah.
you're asking for sale by owners. Can you, the agent, just be like a transaction coordinator and only get paid 1%? You can, it's your business, but I highly recommend against it because you're never going to just be a transaction broker, especially with a for sale by owner. And when you work with a for sale by owner, you're going to end up doing double the work. Especially if like you bring the buyer and he's only, and you sell the FSBO, you're handling really both sides of the deal. You end up doing more work with a FSBO. You'll quickly learn that I think you'll only do it once if you do it that way.
Okay.
I would, if I brought a buyer to a for sale by owner, and it wasn't listed, then, or they didn't want to list with you, then I would take no less than 3%. And you're gonna feel like you should have been paid full 6.
And would you do that on a one-time showing contract or?
Yeah, you do. When you bring, before you show the property, you want to have the seller sign a one-time showing agreement. And in that agreement, they're agreeing for you to show the property to the specific buyer. And in the event that buyer decides to make an offer and it go under contract, the seller agrees to pay you whatever commission you guys have negotiated.
Okay.
Is that an agreement signed before you actually bring your client?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seems like that would make some more sense.
Yeah. Yep. Otherwise you'll get,
Could be
they'll
really
meet and
embarrassing.
hang out. Yep.
Okay.
That's
And
happening
that
a
can
lot.
be done through the DocuSign?
Yep.
Okay.
Hello.
I have two.
Two.
That I just did the one-time show and sell.
Yes. Thank you. And tell them, what's your experience with the FISBO? So Carl was asking, if I have a buyer that wants to buy a for sale by owner, can we offer to be a transaction broker for 1%? I said, you can,
Why
but.
would you want to do it for 1%?
Exactly.
No, you want to ask for 3
Minimum.
or more. Usually they'll agree to 3 or 2.5 or 2. Never do 1, because you're doing both sides of the paperwork. You are doing the seller side as a transactional, and you are doing the buyer side as the agency. And there's 4 pieces of paperwork that you need: transaction, one-time show and sell. You need the agency. I don't know. There's one that Denise always yells at me for not having.
Recap,
No,
buyer agency
no.
agreement.
It's basically the same thing that we have on the contract as a section, but we have a Keller.
Limited dual
Nope.
consent.
Nope,
No?
not that one. There's another one. It's called an agency seller. I don't know. I'll print it and show it to you.
Okay.
But yeah, you call them up and say, hey, I have somebody who wants to see your house. Do you pay a buyer's commission?
Mhm.
And then if they say no, then boy, you're really out of luck. But if they do, and most of the time they do, then you negotiate what it is and you go ahead and you get that stuff signed before you bring the buyer.
Yeah. And I had gotten to a point with my buyers where I would have a conversation. Okay, like at the buyer consult, do you talk to them about,
Yes. If you see
how to-
if you see a FISBO that you
FISBO,
love,
yeah, don't
give me
call
the
them.
number and let me call.
Yeah, exactly. But your buyers will come to like and trust you and appreciate what you do for them so much. If you come across a FISBO that's not willing to pay, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, I'll pay it.
That's
Can I
what
pay
my
you?
next question was, can your buyer pay
Yes.
a percentage of the commission?
Yes, and in the buyer agency agreement, there is a space for, in the event, the seller doesn't pay a commission or there's a for sale by owner situation, there's verbiage for it, but you can put in that buyer agency agreement what your buyer will pay.
Because I've
I've
sold,
never filled that part out. I gotta be honest, because I was just meeting
if
them.
they're not willing to do it, usually I'm like, let's find you something else.
Yeah,
Because I just having that conversation and showing them like that money, usually it's going to eliminate that house right there.
Yeah.
So I usually just say, okay, let's find you something else.
Yeah.
But I have 2 FISBOs going this month.
you're listing them or you're selling?
I'm selling them.
One-time show.
Yeah. So
So
it's
Francis,
very good.
what are the additional paperwork items you were
I
talking
mean, well,
about?
you have to do all the paperwork on the seller side. So you have to do like the recad, you have to do, all the stuff that you need. And then like you're coordinating with the title company, you're coordinating with if you're getting a warranty, you're doing
representing
that.
both sides.
You're
You're doing
representing
double
both
work.
sides.
So you're getting hammered.
No, not at all. Actually, I really like FISBOs because FISBOs are really easy to, they trust you, they want your help, they won't fight you on stuff.
I love this.
So they're actually real easy. And then of course you also have to work with, if there's a mortgage, you have to work with the mortgage company, to get them everything that they need to. So
Yeah, because the FISBOs, they think, I can sell this on my own. But when it comes down to the contracts, they're like, I need you to do it. I need you to do everything. I don't know what I'm doing. They literally know nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is why you need your listing agent.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I mean, it's a learning experience, but you're exhausted at the end. I will say
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, because they beat you up and you get it on both sides. And then when you have the inspection, you have to do the whole like, okay, here's what you want to ask for. And then you have to go back and here's what they are asking for. And then you have the lovely one that I just got is what happens when the appraisal comes in lower than you think.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now you gotta,
Yeah.
so yeah.
So that's happening lately because it's bidding wars, and things are selling for so high, the appraisals
You
are
gotta
coming
have
in lower.
cash.
It's crazy. But yeah, do you want me to print?
Yes, that'd be
that out?
awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I still, and I say it all the time, figure out what you enjoy doing. Dabble in whatever. I've done it all. I know what I like, I don't like, so I just stick with what I'm good at and works for me. FSBOs was it, right? Most people hate them. Like, I hate FSBOs. I love them. You know why I loved them? Because it was building the relationship. So I like the relationship side, the earning the trust, and actually coming from a place of contribution, which is what I prefer, right? Rather than a salesy thing. So I was literally reaching out and genuinely offering to help them. I'll do an open house. I'll give you an opinion on how to declutter if they ask for it, or you might want to do this. Print flyers for them and just follow up and check on them every week. And it was so predictable in that 4 to 6 week time frame. That's why I was like, okay, I get these guys, and that takes that long. If I have this many FSBOs, I follow up with it on a regular basis. I had a minimum of 2 to 3 a month. And then that's in addition to all the other ways I was getting them. But I love that. That was cool for me, starting my business in Atlanta. But we've had agents who love open houses. And there was this one guy that started, he was doing 5 open houses in a week for like 3 months. He would do 5 a week, 5 open houses, 5. And he was doing the full 7-level open house deal. So we have something we call 7-level open house, which, like I mentioned earlier, with an open house, I'm not an agent that just goes and posts it on MLS and then puts a sign in the yard with a balloon and sits in a house and waits for people to drive by. That's not what an open house is for. You'll never sell it and you'll never get any more business from it. So it's about start marketing it 5 to 7 days before the actual open house, door knock the neighborhood, circle prospect by calling the neighborhood, blast it on social media, blast it on MLS, send out email stuff, right? And really follow up, and you get business from those days leading up to the open house. Then I'd have an agent who wanted to do an open house, who actually liked going and sitting there and looking at whatever. I hate open house. But I would have another agent, maybe a new agent who wanted to get buyers, right? I'd have them go and sit at the open house, and I'd say, all the leads that you get from it are yours. You go sit at it, and I did all the work before, because my purpose of doing open houses was to get listings. And it works. It works. But do I want to do that 5 days a week for 3 months? Heck no, but the dude built a big business from it, big, and he did it consistently. And we've had a couple agents that did it at like 30 open houses in a month challenge, like they were doing 2 a day sometimes. And they got great results. They got business.
Do the open houses, let's say you do an agent only open house, so you invite people in the industry, does that tend to work?
Yes, well, yeah, that would be like, an agent open house. So, hey guys in Orange Beach, go on the computer, Carl, and log on to your KW Connect, or go to the Facebook and start the Gary Keller Vision thing, okay? Or if Jamie's there yet, or I don't know who else is there. Jen is sick today, but the link is on our Facebook page on how to log in, and I'm going to get Melissa to do it here. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Melissa up front? How do you leave this? This doesn't look like my Zoom. Stop share maybe first. Here we go. Oh, Sylvia has a teddy bear hugging her.